It's not playing your music.
I'm hearing it. You don't hear it? I hear it. Yeah.
I hear it now.
Good. Welcome, everybody, to the show, After Hours Real Estate. Chris Pescic, my boy over here, yes, real estate extraordinaire, and me, Steve Babcock, mortgage loan originator and bullion dealer. And we are doing a fantastic show today for you, except that Chris has one of the worst internet connections this side of the Mississippi. He is on a trip,
so bad,
and he's asked me to do most of the talking. So, Chris, welcome.
Tell him what we do on the show, Steve.
You're not used to this, are you? This is a show where we pretend you're a fly on the wall and you get to listen to a realtor and a lender talk in a bar. So, Chris, what are you drinking?
My friend, I am drinking one of my favorite whiskeys is in this entire world, Stranahan's American Single Malt. Out of
It's
Denver,
really your favorite in the entire world?
It's one of my favorite whiskeys ever.
You say something like that, I want to try one.
They're so smooth, and even their $45 bottle. Just look, if you like Scotch, it's kind of like a Scotch. Just avoid the Blue Label one. You can get any of the other ones, and they're awesome. Just avoid the Blue Label one. That's their crap.
I'm guessing the Blue Label is the cheapest one.
It is. It's maybe a $35 or $40 bottle, which for that money you can get so much better whiskey.
For those of you tuning in,
45 or 50, I don't know what people get.
Excellent. And for those of you tuning in, the reason why Chris wanted me to lead the show tonight is because the delay is like 10 seconds. So we'll be interrupting each other the entire time otherwise. And unfortunately, I'm way less prepared than Chris is. Huh?
Here, cheers me. What are you drinking?
Cheers, brother. I saw this in the grocery store. This is backwards for you, isn't it? This is Karbach Texas Lager. I've seen Karbach the company make lots of lagers, but
look ever since Shiner started making the Texas Special again, like I'm seeing all of these companies now come out with Texas beer because sell beer to Texans.
Because there are suckers out there. I wonder who those people are. Anyways, it's been wonderful. It's delicious. I like it. It's good. Yeah. So, cheers, brother. Cheers, sir. Yes. So then tell me, in the wonderful world, yes, so that's okay. In the wonderful world of real estate, what's new? What's happening? Give me a quick update on our real estate world.
I'm seeing more properties go under contract right now.
All right. Why?
I'm having more. I don't know. I'm having more. Hey, Kelly. Having more showings on my properties. I keep track every week of most school districts and like how many properties are going under contract, right? Since Labor Day, Dripping Springs, because I know it the best because I'm out here. We were having about 12 properties under contract a week. And about 4 or 5 of those, about a third of them were new home construction over in Big Sky Ranch or Heritage, brand new homes. The other ones were kind of split across the, from 500 to 1.5 to 2 million ish. And just kind of not really a rhyme or reason, right? Just very specific buyers looking for specific things. And then that happened for probably 5 weeks. And last week, that number of under contracts popped up to 18.
Okay.
And I saw it in my showings, and I saw it in my showings across the board, regardless of what city they're in. Lockhart, Leander, Austin, all of them. So we've got more showings right now. Buyers are more active right now than they've been probably since July.
Nice. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing.
That's what
yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. Lots more applications coming in. A lot more people shopping. The rates coming down. The promise of maybe future rates is helping a lot of people feel like they're able to jump in. when before, we're not really sure if the rates were going to go down, kind of thing. I'll tell you though, that leads me into what I wanted to discuss today. And to remember this name, yes.
As you jump into that, I'm gonna poke this up. Can you see this? Wait. Okay, yeah, you can see it now. So here's the interesting thing, and I just wanted to bring this up because I saw it before we jumped on, that mortgage rates are actually at a high point for the last 3 weeks today. This is the highest they've been in 3 weeks. I'm just going to throw that out there for people to look at.
So again, the market will adjust to where it thinks the rates are going to be going, not to where they've gone. So when a Fed member comes out and announces a rate cut that day, the market usually doesn't do what you'd expect it to do because it reacted to that information 2.5 weeks earlier when the Fed minutes came out, which is the words spoken at a meeting, right, written down, and you can read about what they actually said and what their plans were and how they feel about things. And you generally have an idea of what they're going to do. And then there's even betting pools on it and things like that. It's really funny, actually. People bet on any kinds of things these days. But yeah, bottom line is it's not really what the market's telling us is that they're afraid rates aren't going to be as low as we're all hoping they might be. I think if the Fed were really smart, they'd lower rates very quickly. Yeah. So there was some news.
And that's interesting because the last.
You keep just talk over me. The delay
I was going to say the last. Yeah, I got you. I'm sorry. The last thing I saw with the non-farm payrolls, we talked about it last week, is everybody's like, "Oh crap, we're about to see another 0.5 percentage point decrease," but rates are coming back up today, which tells me, oh, maybe we're not. And you were just about to say something about the news that you heard today.
I'll tell you, short term, I would consider what happened today to be somewhat of just a normal correction. However, long term, it could be a sign of things that might be worse to come, right? And mainly because of what happened in Japan last night. For those of you that don't or know this, or maybe you can't pronounce the name correctly, which I was pronouncing it incorrectly just by reading the English translation. I had to look it up. And the way I remember this phonetically is a taco-shaped key going into holes, like a hole of cheese. Sorry, like a nice big Swiss hole. Okay, because her name is Takichi. Right? Ta as in taco, ki as in key, and chi as in cheese. Takichi. You'll never forget her name now. So Takichi is known as Japan's Trump. Okay, she's all about policies internally, but she's also about stimulus, while simultaneously making it cheaper to borrow money. Okay, why do we care about this? Well, because Japan is the #1 buyer of our bonds. All right, well, again, why do we care about that? Well, because our bonds dictate what the mortgage rates are. Okay, it's not the Fed, it's the bonds. Now, the Fed will sell off certain things for bonds, and they sell the bonds as well, and they do dictate rates, but not like people think they do. And the bond market is 3 times as big as our stock market. It is a gigantic market. It is traded worldwide. And Japan, the #1 holder of bonds, if they ever needed money, let's say, if they needed to shore up some funds and pay for things internally, they would sell bonds. And already, right off the bat, they lost 150 basis points today on their currency, which is huge. Mainly because this woman that ran, Takichi, ran on the promise that she would dish out stimulus for people, help families because they've had a dwindling population. She's going to try to promote that. She's going to do, like I said, stimulus programs. She's also going to do lower rates for borrowing costs. And Japan has been in kind of an economic death spiral for 30 years, but they've also been one of the strongest economies on the planet, which is just really weird to think about, but they've kind of been stagnant. And every time we've had a huge hiccup in our rates or in our lending rates, not every time, in recent memory, many of the times have been from scares of Japan selling bonds. You and I have talked about it right here on this show. And if they're going to lose 150 basis points at just the announcement of this woman and what she's planning on doing, and then her plan is to inflate the currency. I mean, there's really no other way to. I mean, there's other reasons for it, but one of the things that will happen is the currency will inflate. And it's just right. I mean, I'm not saying maybe it will. And if it will inflate, they may have to sell bonds, and most likely will actually have to sell bonds. Not may, most likely, in order for them to sustain their currency, right? To sustain the rate at which they do a lot of their things. long story short, it could be very bad for interest rates. And I think the best way to deal with it would be to make our bonds so cheap that they wouldn't want to sell them. So that's why I was saying I think the best thing the Fed could do would be to lower rates very quickly, 2-3% kind of thing, make them back down to 2 or 3% overall, and maybe 3.5% overall, and then Japan would be like, let's sell somebody else's bonds, right? Because we're not the only bonds they have.
Do you think the Fed would actually do that? Like, is the Fed paying attention to what Japan's doing on this?
No, they won't do that, but everyone's paying attention.
Okay.
Everyone's paying attention. The other thing that will happen is the gold prices will further increase. I would highly expect that to happen because as people seek safe havens, there's only so many left.
If only we knew somebody we could buy gold from.
Yeah, well, I wish you knew. You should talk to me. Unless you're going into crypto, and I'll tell you, anybody that wants to go into crypto should look up the Carrington event. I think it was 1876, something like that. But it was in the 1800s. You should look up the Carrington event. You should. You really should. A natural occurrence with the sun shooting off a solar flare. It hit the planet. It knocked out pretty much all electronics on the planet. It lit up a few of them and caused fires and shocks and I think a few deaths, if I remember correctly. But bottom line is that was back when we had telegraph lines.
Beyond telegraphs. Yeah, what did we have beyond telegraphs back then?
We didn't. And that's my point, is that if you're getting shocked, lit on fire, the telegraphs lighting up on their own, the prediction is that if that ever happened today, which it's not a question of if, it's when, right? Because we have solar flares that shoot off the sun all the time. Also, on the day of 2012, remember the Mayan prediction of the end of the world calendar, right? If you look this one up, it's really interesting. On the day of 2012, where our planet was 1 week earlier, a massive solar flare hit that was like 20 times that of the Carrington event that would have knocked out all power on the entire planet. It was exactly where we were 1 week earlier on the day of 2012, wherever that Mayan date was on the calendar. It was just like, whoa, wow, that's a little weird. Anyways, if that were ever to happen today, we would lose all crypto there ever is or was or could be. All systems would shut down. Anything that's not in a Faraday cage would fry. Every thumb drive would light up and burn up. Anything that wasn't protected from basically an EMP would be fried, which was basically everything, including most power grids.
Guys, we are not a doom and gloom show. I'm just going to say that.
But I don't like crypto for that reason. Honestly, for that reason. That's the reason I don't like crypto. I also don't like our current system. Our current system's almost all digital too. So I don't like the way that's being done either.
Well, yeah. I was about to say though, with cryptocurrency though, you can at least protect a thumb drive. Like you could put it in a lead box and put it in the ground and it's protected.
Technically, yes, you could, but what kind of world would you be spending it in the day after?
Well, it wouldn't be the day after, but I guarantee you, if everybody else lost their crypto, yours would be worth a hell of a lot more.
Okay, maybe. I mean, hey, based on just normal supply and demand, I wouldn't argue with you, but that's. Anyways, I don't like the idea of crypto for that reason. I think there's plenty of other investments you can be putting your money into besides a digital asset that is just as good as a regular currency, except that it can't be manipulated like our currency can, I guess.
This is
a fiat
really good time to talk about dirt and the value of dirt. But make sure that you have water rights on your dirt. Just saying.
That's true. You could also bury gold under your dirt. If you ever wanted to. So technically, you could just have multiple assets in one location. Just throwing it out there.
That's right. And I want to make everybody understand. Yeah, Steve does sell gold and silver and precious metals and palladium and platinum and all the things. And I actually had a conversation with him last week about that very thing. And I probably learned more in 10 minutes about silver than I ever knew about it in my life.
You know, it's almost impossible to get those silver American Eagles now, too. Not impossible, but they're delayed for weeks. People are coming out of the woodwork for this stuff. They're freaking out.
By the way, if you didn't know there's a tax advantage to those, you should call them. Call them for the tax advantage.
As a mortgage lender, I want to say absolutely nothing on that front. And I mean nothing. And as a mortgage lender, I will also mention
By
that
the way, if you write off all of your income on your taxes, you're screwed. You will not get a loan if you write all of your income off on your taxes.
Yeah, you can't do that, and I would never advise that. But as a mortgage lender, I will tell the world that the bullion industry is in desperate need of some regulation. Let's put it that way. I couldn't believe it when I started. It's it's not very regulated. So,
well, I mean,
you don't have any great stories today, do you?
My question is, I don't. I just the question that I've got is, of course, I do clickbait titles and thumbnails, right? Because I'm sorry, if you're here because of a clickbait title, I apologize, but you're going to fall in love with us, and that's fine. And you're going to come back next Monday. But seriously though, what does that mean for the housing market? I mean, I had a client telling me today that there's an article that was just written that Austin's one of the most hard hit real estate markets in the country in terms of the money that we've lost and all that other stuff. Well, I mean, crap, if Japan starts to play hardball, I mean, what does that mean for housing?
Well, there's a lot of housing projects in Japan right now, specifically big investors like multi-skyscraper kind of investors, right? And that money would go elsewhere. They would. I mean, some of it would, but internally they'd stay there. But anyone foreign would probably leave and go elsewhere. So there could be a big real estate boom somewhere else just because of that. It's pretty interesting what's happening in Japan right now. They have for 30 or probably 40. Excuse me.
What about Russia? Would that be a good investment?
What an interesting question. As of right now, Russia's not looking great. The European Union has all but voted that they should be preparing for war against Russia. A few of their member states have agitated for going in. They want to just flat out invade. It's getting a little scary on that front. And then on top of that, Ukraine had been using our Patriot missiles, and they were getting through like 40% of the time, and they're down to 9% of the time. They've had some new defenses that are now hitting those missiles. So Russia's doing better, but at the same time, they're doing no good against drones. Drones can fly way too low, way too. I mean, it could be a kid's paper airplane. I mean, they are so thin. And drones are taking out a lot. They've taken out a couple ammunition depots, a few fuel depots, from what I've seen. But the problem is that our internet is controlled from higher ups, and at the end of the day, what we're seeing about the war is inaccurate at best.
Propaganda
however,
machine.
However, I'll just say the fact that this war is still going is phenomenal. I mean, no one when this thing started would have ever expected it was going to drag on this long. There's no way you could. My kiddo is 9 now. He was asking me about the Ukraine war. I was thinking to myself, like, man, that war has been fought for a lot of his life at this point, right? So we went to a globe and we looked at Ukraine and Russia. And when you actually look at it
in your house?
Yeah, we have a little globe. Actually, it lights up. It's kind of fun.
I got it. I love that. I really do.
When you have a kid, it makes a big difference. They can see the world. It really is fun. Anyway, so when you actually look at it, and I'd seen it on a map, but when you look at it on a globe, like, you have to move the globe over just to see the rest of Russia. Like, you can't. There's no way that you can see Ukraine and all of Russia at the same time. And then the day before, he was telling me, Dad, did you know there's a really thin strip of water between Alaska and Russia? And so then we got there, and I was like, oh, and hey, by the way, there's that strip. It was fun, man. I'm a dork.
That's the crazy thing, though, because you think about that war and look at where Moscow is in relation to the Ukraine.
Yeah, he was asking me if they were going to win, and I was like, unfortunately, son, there's no way they can win. I mean, I don't think there is. Just Ukraine by themselves. I mean, if several other countries join, fine. I don't think they have enough people to occupy and keep Russia. Do you know what I mean? It's too small. I'm sorry. It's just too. But then again, as we're looking at it, I looked at Germany and I was like, they almost took over the world.
That's fair. I was just going to say there's not really a winning formula. Like, what does winning look like for Ukraine? I think Ukraine winning is, hey, leave us the hell alone.
These are questions that if we can't answer, I'm not sure. I guess maybe I'm going to stop there.
Fair. Yeah, yeah.
They have nothing to do with my business, and I like making
True.
money in my business. So I will say that the more the world is on fire, the more you should own real estate and gold.
This is not a sales show, by the way, guys. We
No,
just
but it's
talk
the truth.
honestly about things that are,
It's
yeah.
sincerely the truth. As your real estate goes down, your gold should go up, technically, right? I mean, I know there's not a direct correlation,
Yeah.
but when you think about multiple asset types, when times are rough, gold's usually the best, and when times are booming, you want real estate. So, I guess depending on the
Yeah.
city, but we're selling two great things here. Now, sir.
Well, and that's what I was. Well, I was just going to ask. That's an interesting way that you put that. Is that they're tethered, but they're kind of yin and yang.
If you looked at it on a graph, you wouldn't be able to compare the two, but I do believe they're both great diversified assets.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. And I mean, look, people have talked about both of those assets since the beginning of time. Do you
Right.
own
Well,
gold? Do you own land?
so gold is typically the inverse of the strength of the dollar, right? In fact, I often joke, and I know this isn't 100% accurate, but it's pretty close. Like gold doesn't actually change in value; your currency does,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Right.
why it costs 21,000 yen for an ounce of gold right now, or almost four. It went to 300. Let me start over. It went to $3,950 today for an ounce of gold at the announcement of this whole Japan thing. It's $50 shy of $4,000 an ounce, and what? A year and a half ago, it was $2,000 an ounce. It is a direct correlation with the strength of the dollar. So what does that tell you about the strength of the dollar?
I mean, I don't have anything to add on it. I mean, it is what it is. It's not rocket science. You can look at graphs, you can look at charts, you can do comparisons. It is what it is.
So then when your dollar is losing value, what is it that you want to own?
Asset that's hard.
Right. Because
Me,
if it costs someone $100,000 to build a house yesterday, and the currency doubles, it should cost theoretically $200,000 to buy the house tomorrow, or to build the house, right? Therefore, your house should go up in value accordingly in a market where the dollar is collapsing, right? So being a homeowner is extremely important in that aspect. And also, the gold won't, like I said, I feel like it's a store of value that holds its value. Gold is worth the same today that it was in Roman times, right? I'm going to throw currency away and tell you what I can buy with gold, right? Yes, occasionally, if you're going to open up gold to trades where we're not used to seeing it, like in real estate, fine, that can change per city, whatever. But if you go back to like New York City, right, in 10 years ago, and you would give them one gold coin, that was the equivalent of like their finest suit. But if you did one gold coin back in Roman times and you were a senator, that was about the equivalent of their best, finest purple Roman robes, toga robes, right? And it's always been that way. And so gold should always buy you a suit, the nicest suit, right? One piece of gold. And the price of that suit will
seriously,
always
right now, you can buy a nice suit. You can buy a nice suit for an ounce of gold. Really nice suit.
always. It's always been that way. And so if gold's $2,000 an ounce, yesterday I would expect a nice suit to be $2,000. If, I don't mean like, mafia kind of suit,
Yeah.
right? Like I went out of my way to get the nicest. Okay. And then now I'd expect it to be about $4,000. Right. I mean, I know you can spend more, but a really nice, you can spend a hell of a lot less than that. Right. And so that's been kind of the constant with. So as gold goes up in value, I get a little nervous.
Can you finance gold?
It's hard to do. You can't if you look at it from a principled thing. Um, how do you do
I'm
anything
thinking
with
about
something
it
that
like
sits?
house versus gold.
So you can't rent out your gold. You can't lease out your gold. You can't finance it. You can rent out your house. You can lease out your house. You can finance your house. Um,
It's a fair point.
Gold is not a liquid asset, right? All it can be done is
Yeah,
bought or paid, bought or sold. Um, Thing
it can be
is,
traded. Come on.
I mean, sure, but that's not really gold, which is also why silver's launching up so high. And keep in mind, gold and
Yeah.
silver are not correlated. If you look at those two graphs together, they don't always go up or down at the same time. Okay, and so with silver, if you went over to England last year, okay, actually 6 months, 4 months ago, and you asked them, can I buy some silver? Well, yeah, we have some silver ETFs. So you buy this exchange fund, and every ounce of silver that you buy, we will put into a vault. We'll charge you some vault fees. Okay, sorry, we can't store it for free. It's got to be there. We got to have some security, etc. But no problem. We'll do. Okay, great, cool. And so now it's time for me to sell my silver that I got with them, and it takes them about 1 week. They got to go to the vault. They got to process the paperwork. They got to get the silver. They have to sell the silver. Okay, all right, cool. It's up to 8 weeks today. What does that tell you?
To me, it means that they don't have your silver in a vault.
Right. And did you know there's more paper certificates sold for gold than there is in the world?
Oh yeah, and I mean this is a great time to talk about that because if you're not buying a hard physical piece of metal, you're buying jack shit. Am I right?
Maybe. Because if you have a paper certificate and it goes up in value 10 times what gold does, which it has, if you look at some of those ETFs, some of those funds, they move way more and you could make a ton more money because they're not gold. They're funds with gold. They're funds with mining stocks. They're funds with other things in there that have to do with gold. They're jewelry stocks, right? And you can make a ton more money doing that because you're buying stocks in companies that are related to gold as opposed to gold itself or gold itself. But it's manipulated by a market that's not controlled by something that can't be controlled, right? So like gold, you can't print any more gold. You can go mine gold, but every year the amount mined adds what percentage to our overall gold? Guess.
It's got to be a fraction of a tenth of a percent.
It's about 1%. So every year the whole world's gold supply is at about maybe a little less, sometimes about 1%. Right? A lot of times it costs so much money to mine it that once they find it, they just seal it off and don't do anything with it until the price goes up.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
You have to mine like a house's worth, like a whole house worth to make just a few coins. I mean, it's obnoxious how much, I guess, unless you find like an actual vein, but when you're like breaking down, if you've ever seen some videos on it, it takes a lot of rock to break down and get all that stuff out. Anyways,
those are really cool shows, by the way, when they're the miners.
Say that again.
It's the mining shows are really, really cool. I actually like watching them.
Fun. They're really fun. Anyways, yeah, man, it's I think owning a ton of real estate and a ton of gold are probably the two best things you could possibly do.
Well, I would own a lot of chickens also. Because look,
just own a farm and rent it out to farmers, and you'll be fine there.
That's right. Buy dirt, rent it out to people who want to farm and don't have their own plot of land to do it.
Right, and then if you're ever in need of a chicken farmer because the world has collapsed, you can always barter with the person that is now living rent free from your house in exchange for chickens or eggs.
That's right. I've got a cousin that he made a very good point at one point. He's like, I don't need gold. I just need chickens because if everything goes to hell, I can sell you an egg for whatever the hell I want.
It might be true, but if I have enough gold to hire 20 guys, I'm going to take your chickens. And I'm not going to have to lift a finger.
And that's why you also probably should invest in ammunition.
And silver, because you don't want to pay them in gold. You'll run out really fast. So,
that's
silver
right.
piece a day,
yeah, silver.
That's good enough. Yeah.
That's the best thing about this show. Like, it's all related, but it's not related. And it's just like, whatever, we're all over the place.
Oh, man, if any of this actually comes true, it's not going to be laughable at all. So I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It's not. By the way, guys, I don't know, being outside of city centers, it's kind of a good deal. I don't know.
So
Just
we
saying.
lived in Round Rock. We lived in on Fifth and Lamar.
Look what
Um,
look what
uh,
hands dropped.
guns. We lived, we lived on like 50th and something there. We lived on 14th and San Bernard. We lived right across the street from the Driscoll downtown. We lived in South Austin, and then my wife and I finally have moved out to Lago. My son actually summed it up the best yesterday on Sunday. I couldn't believe it. But I looked at him and I'm like, so wise, right? But he just said, whenever we go to his CC and BZ, they live down south, right? Right, like 10 minutes away from the city, right next to 290 and Mopac. They're in a really nice gated neighborhood. And he says, whenever we go down to BZ and CC's house, I just hear cars and sirens all the time. It never stops. It's always loud. There's so much stuff going on. And out here,
Yeah.
there's birds and it's quiet and like I'll tell you, man, and you're 20 minutes away, maybe 30 minutes away from everything.
The craziest thing. We were at A&M. We went. It was last fall. There's a couple of foundations. They invite you in and they kind of show you what they're doing. And this one guy was talking about some of the research they're doing. And it's still, I've got it written down. I've got notes made, and I want to make a series of videos on this because people don't understand this, but they're actually studying the correlation between where you live and the different types of illnesses that you have and the longevity of your life. And they're finding out that it is completely tied to your environment. If you are in an environment where you're out and you can see stars and you can see the sun come up and you don't have smog and you hear birds and you don't hear car alarms and all that other shit, it's actually better for your life. You live a longer, happier life because of the environment that you live in. And
my son was basically saying the lack of noise pollution made him really happy. I didn't mean to talk over you, but I know there's a delay. Yeah, it really made him happy.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, it is a real thing, and they're studying it at the university level. And I'm like, of course, because even when the amount of time that we lived was less, like with my grandparents and great grandparents, they were still in their 70s, 80s, and 90s at times when our medicine wasn't as good. And it's because they lived on farms, they worked all day, like they weren't sitting on their couch doing what I do at night and doom scrolling Twitter and doing all the dumb shit that we do. Grounding, and nailed it. Yep. Take your shoes off and walk around on the grass without your shoes and just spend 15 to 20 minutes a day with your feet on the ground. It's a real thing.
Yeah, I've never, ever taken so many pictures of the sunset until I moved out here. And if that doesn't make sense to you,
I do it all the time.
Out in Dripping, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sun rises too. I go for a walk with Charlie and Erica's with, and like, in the morning, you take a picture of the sunrises.
Yeah, it sounds dumb because we all see the same sun, but it's not the same. I'm sorry, it's not the same at all. Never at any of those other homes over, 13, 14 years did I ever take a picture of the sunrise or the sunset, ever. Out here, every 3 or 4 days, I'm taking a picture. Like, oh my God, look at that. It's weird. Anyways, I think I'm out of things to say, sir. Maybe we should wrap up.
All right. Let's wrap it up. Wrap us up, man.
Well, thanks for watching. All right, some don't see it at all. Yeah, touche. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been After Hours Real Estate. My confused friend over here is Chris Petchik. He's an amazing realtor. You should call him. And my name is Steve Babcock. I am a mortgage lender and most recently bullion dealer and ancient coin dealer, which is just really cool. Talk about that too if you want. And come back next Monday.
Thank you, my friend. We will talk to you guys